this episode we're going to go through some tactics in dealing with conspiracy thinkers. Just imagine you're in a debate when one of these shows up. The first thing we have going for us is the very word conspiracy theory. People who engage into conspiracy thinking take great care not to mention the word conspiracy, as it is synonymous with crazy and it would freak out the audience. We have the CIA to thank for this. When the findings of the Warren Commission were presented into the Kennedy assassination, the agency had selected the words conspiracy theory to smother any criticism. Again, the established powers have your back. Chances are that the conspiracy nutter that you're facing has accepted some information that was purposely fed by intelligence agencies. They do that. It would be way too dangerous to leave these troublemakers unchecked. So agencies employ trolls and operate websites that enter ridiculous ideas into the community of conspiracy theorists to make it very easy for you to label these types as nutters. And from the side of the media, common folks are being fed enough information to arm them against alternative views. Governments and the companies that have your trust have your back from this side as well. So the deck is truly stacked against conspiracy theorists. Beside entering the word conspiracy, there are some other tricks that you can employ to frame your opponent as a basket case. For instance, you can attribute an opinion to them, something they do not really voice, but an opinion that is easy to attack. And whatever you do with what they do believe, you present it in some outrageous manner, point out that it is from the internet, and keep the laughter going. They're typically devoid of any sense of humor. To further avoid having to discuss what they say, you can address the person you're debating, their knowledge, qualification, mental state, or some other opinion they subscribe to. Because typically, conspiracy theorists believe in more than just one theory. So you can say, well, I'm being asked to debate a man who also believes that, and you name it. You've gained a lot of ground when the discussion has shifted to a type of meta-debate on whether conspiracies exist at all. They may mention the Watergate or the Tuskegee experiment. Well, what a treat. You can go extensively into those, and above all point out that these are not comparable to what was being discussed. And the audience, they are often uninformed and too scared to choose side with the conspiracy theorist. It is a very normal phenomenon for people to resist new information if it clashes with deeply rooted beliefs. Having to let go of convictions that are very dear to someone is simply too painful. For instance, if you challenge something that is written in a religious book, you may be faced with mockery, anger, or someone closing off for further discussion. Being faced with conflicting information, people will grab on to any counter-argument just to hold on to their cherished beliefs. Conspiracy theorists have to overcome one hell of a challenge in dealing with this psychological mechanism. As said, there's one powerful mechanism that prevents people from accepting conspiracy theories, and that is peer pressure. Most people are scared to be ousted from the group or even be labeled a crackpot. Experiences from the school years have stuck with them. You did not want to be the one that was picked out by the teacher, be put in front of the class and be subjected to his mockery and the laughter of your peers. and do dress like an authority figure. These types don't trust and typically dislike authority. Provoke them. They themselves might be dressed in some shabby t-shirt with some outrageous conspiracy reference, further raising the bar to those they wish to convince. It's hilarious. And if you're faced with scientists, it may even be easier. We've seen examples from subjects like AIDS, climate, and vaccines where that has been done. Even Nobel laureates have been taken out of service. Now, if you're unlucky, you're faced with an opponent that engages in counterattack, openly analyzing how he debates instead of trying to defend himself. This type of so-called meta-communication is more difficult to deal with, and I propose just swinging it back at them. You could act impatiently annoyed and say something like, well, how is one supposed to respond to such ludicrous theory? Tell me. The odds are still in your favor that the audience will stay with you. If you have no other choice than to analyze a conspiracy theory, then you still have advantages. The critical thinking of these crackpots is typically fatally flawed. Anything supporting their theory is quickly accepted, and anything challenging their theory is cast aside. They may not even have taken notice of that. And their criteria for proof are not very high. For instance, they may show a photo of some experimental airplane and consider it proof of the widespread spraying of chemicals, the so-called chemtrails conspiracy. Whatever you do, maintain an attitude of confidence, because the audience is most likely to be staying on your side of the story. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor and like this video. You can also sign up for new episodes.